How you doing? It's Chazz Palminteri. It's Monday at 11 o'clock, a new show, and I am fucking flipping out because I have one of the all-time fucking greats here today, one of the great comedians. I can't even talk about the stuff that I always talk about in the beginning. You want to come and see my one-man show, ChazzPalminteri.net, my schedule all over the country. This guy here, and I don't want to talk too much in front of him because he's going to get embarrassed. But I always said it to me, and I say my fucking opinion. I've been saying this, John. If I've been saying this a long time, how long have I been saying to me? I didn't know Richard Pryor, but I saw Richard Pryor. I'm older than him, obviously. This fucking guy reminds me of. He just took it to another fucking level. I don't know what he does, how he does it.
I gotta stop you there. Richard's in his own.
Richard's in his own. No,
yes,
no.
Yeah. There's Richard and there's everybody else.
No. There's Richard.
You're
Then
gonna start there?
No,
My God.
you're right. No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. No, but I'm so excited that he's here. To me, Richard Pryor was like here, and then he's the one who. Look, my God, here he is, Bill Burr. Bill,
How are you?
Bill,
I can't follow that intro, but it's nice to be here.
No. But you fucking. And I'm just going to, you're right. I had such an intro built up for you. Then I said, what am I doing? Let me just let you talk. And I really mean it. There's comedians and then there's comedians. It's like comics do jokes and I go, it's a joke. Hey, it's a funny joke, but it's not a great, all right, but it doesn't make me think. You do jokes that make me think, that you say things that are really interesting in a funny way. And I go, that's what a comedian does. It's like smart. It's like, I remember you were on the show and you said, look, I don't want to do, I remember you were talking when she said, I'm married to a black woman, but I don't want to do black jokes. Oh, hey, you ever see this one? And I was like,
oh, those the other comparison joke?
Right. And then you did, but then you spoke about the thing about Elvis. And you talked about how your wife said, well, fucking guy, he could have gave a shout out. And I went, wow, he took the culture, he made it his own, and I said, yes.
Yeah, I forget how that went. Yeah, that happens.
It was great.
That happens it's one of the, there's a zillion great things about my wife, but one of the fun things is when we're watching stuff, we really are watching it a lot of times. Sometimes I should say from completely two different perspectives, so it leads to stuff like that. And then most of the times, though, it's just common ground, which is something that I've said. People ask, when they ask you about, my wife or stuff. But what's that like? It's like it's like normal until you go outside. But even then, like I don't even know. I don't think it really matters anymore. And I think everybody's kind of like
right.
Kind of like past all that shit. So
most of
my wife is is the greatest, and
right.
It goes way beyond sort of a 70s sitcom. Like the neighbors on the Jeffersons.
Yeah, but it's funny, and I don't know how we got on this right away, but people always come to me.
Dude, of all the places in this giant house you could have your Emmys, you have them like right there. We know you're crushing it.
No. You know what?
Jesus.
I got to tell you.
This better not be a sad story where somebody dies. I just saw a black and white photo.
You know what? No.
Okay,
I have the. You're fucking right. And
there's somebody there with an American flag.
No,
this is going to go south quick.
My best friend who died in COVID, and he was the one who said to me.
All right.
No, he's not. No,
it's my fault. You're going to house this family pictures.
I had them actually not out. And he said to me, he goes, hey, you won those fucking things. Why don't you put it out? And I go, Phil, I really don't do that. He goes, come on.
I'd have those in both pockets of my bathrobe every time I came downstairs for breakfast.
I know.
Anytime my wife gave me shit, really?
Yeah. I know people.
I am an award-winning asshole.
Now
Thank you very much.
Now after he fucking leaves, these things are going back. You know that I'm putting them right away. You know that. Because you know what? He's the first one ever had the fucking balls to say
You don't need to do it. You're fucking Chazz Palminteri.
Yeah, you're right. John, take these fucking things. Take these fucking things out of here. It's my fault.
I'm going to start doing that on my podcast. So I got Comedian of the Year from Southwest Community College.
Take that.
That's right. I had the best shit jokes.
You see what I'm saying?
Good. You know what? Then there's more. Oh, there's a Bronx Tale, the one-man show. Now that led to the movie, right?
Well, the one man show led to the movie. Yes.
Oh my God, that movie.
Yes.
Like I love that movie so much. I even love the bus that De Niro drives because I'm a old school like car guy, and I go beyond liking the 10 cars that everybody who says they like old cars. I like weird things like bread trucks, and just to see what the tow trucks look like. So to see the bus, the workmanship, like all those windows that are up top above the seats and all of that. Yeah, they just don't care anymore. They don't care.
People in that movie. I mean, that movie's it's weird because it became a one man show, a movie, and then a musical. A Broadway musical. Yeah, it was a hit for 2 years. And now, in fact, just before you came, I just filmed the one man show, and I'm editing it now, and I'm really excited by it. But
amazing.
That fucking thing has been like a thing for me. Bronx Tale that's my. I'm Colodro. My real name is Colodro. I'm the little boy.
Is that right?
Yes, I'm the little boy in A Bronx Tale. So
wow,
I was in love with a black girl, and it's funny when people see that movie, they go, De Niro put that in, right? Come on, tell the truth. And I go, what is Bob De Niro, the only guy who ever dated a black woman?
Well, what's funny though is then when you do, they think that that's all you like.
Yes.
Like they don't think it's like, no, I kind of like them all. I just click with this person who happened to be,
exactly, who happened to be.
But it ends up being.
No, but that movie has been like fucking. I would love for you to come and see one day.
I told you this story before. I got to tell you, listeners, this is like the day I was marrying my wife. I was freaking out. I was a total commitment phobe. It was so weird because I knew I loved her, but then it's just like the finality.
Yes.
Like of that, it was like claustrophobic because I grew up like a really oppressive, controlled environment. So like I just that was the thing that I hated about a relationship is it was like subconsciously reminding me of that. So I'm getting ready to go over to get married.
Right.
So I go downstairs. I think I was at Copley Plaza in Boston. And I went downstairs and I said to my brother, my older brother was my best man. I go, I got to get a drink, right? So I go down to the bar to get a drink, and I'm standing there, and I take one sip of it, and I look over, and who's standing there? You. You were there, standing over there, and all I thought was A Bronx Tale, now you can't leave. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a fucking sign.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you were standing there, and I was going like, first, I was going like, "Holy shit, that's Chazz Palminteri." I fucking love that guy.
Where was this?
It was. Well, I got married in October of 2013. If you can remember why you were there,
I don't know where.
But it was you, and I was just thinking like, because I was thinking I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna have a Budweiser, and I'll be fine. I'll.
You remember the name of the place?
I don't. It was the bar at the I was staying at a hotel.
I was staying at a hotel.
And there was whatever the bar was downstairs. Wow, and I looked over and I saw you. And I was, it was you. I always wanted to meet you, but that was the last way I wanted to meet you. But then, you know what's funny? Verzi, who you've had on the thing, he said, Bill, all it is about getting through the vows. Once you get through the vows, then it's just a big party with your best friends and you can relax. And that was totally what it was. Ended up being the night of my life, and I don't regret it for a second. But it was just, I think, like the fear. I had such fear. I pulled you into my universe, and I'll never forget you standing over there.
Right.
And it was like that scene in the end, when that kid comes up, because there was like a crowd around you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
The only thing you weren't doing is you weren't pointing like that. That was the only thing that was missing.
Yeah. Wow. See, I didn't get married till I was 41, so I had commitment for.
I was 45.
Okay, so we were together. Yeah, I had this thing like once you got married, it was like it was like a safe that just went, and you start to die. That's what I felt like. You start to die. Like the clock is ticking. I'm going to die now. But when I was single, I felt no, this is cool.
Yeah,
I can
that
live
Peter Pan thing. You feel like you're still young.
Yeah.
My thing was I always wanted to be married, and I wanted to have a big family and do all of this stuff. But it always felt like it was 2-3 years away. It just always felt like that. And it was, and then I blamed the business and blah, blah. And then it turned out to be, it was a bunch of issues that I had.
Right. No, I had to go to therapy. I went into therapy. That helped my ass out because I never wanted to commit. I
had therapy, and then I had a couple of mushroom trips, and now I'm good.
Yeah. And now you're good.
Yeah, I'm beyond good.
Yeah.
To the point.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting there before this tour was going on. I was like going, why am I still doing this? Like, I don't need to do this. And I don't mean like in a money way. I was like, why am I still doing stand-up? Because I used to do it for me. I was doing it for me. I felt guilty. I'd always have fans come up, oh my God, your comedy helped me through this
Right.
tough time. And, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I would feel guilty going like, it's like, I need you. Like, I need your
Right.
laugh to validate that all these awful things that I feel about myself. I tell these jokes, you guys laugh, then I feel
Right.
good about myself. And then if I had a bad show, like all the things that I thought about myself, just, the walls came crashing down and then I would have to do a set the next night, have a good set, and feel good about myself again. And it was sort of like this, it was sort of like an emotional, like one night stand, because it wasn't real in a way. It was, but it would go away. So now that, I found the woman I want to be with, I got 2 beautiful kids, and I have what I was looking for, and it's real.
You're too happy now?
It's like, I don't want to leave it.
Yeah.
So then I was like, so what the fuck am I still going, I'm going to Allentown for the 9 millionth time tonight. And I was like, it finally just hit me, through like a mushroom trip. I was like, hey, stupid, why don't you do it for them? And stop being so selfish. Why don't you go up there? And it's added like a lightness and a playfulness to my act where I'm not coming up there with all my shit.
Right.
And then I can, when people heckle me, I can approach it in a different, other than, hey, go fuck yourself.
And
I can come in a different way.
How I approached it, Phil, me, and this is Phil, because I've said Phil Stutz is my shrink. Have you ever seen that thing on Netflix, Stutz with Jonah Hill? It's great.
I did see that, yeah.
That's my shrink. And I had this thing with him, and he said,
That guy's intimidating. He gets right to it.
oh boy, he's intimidating.
Yeah.
And because I said, well, what is it about, Phil? I used to talk to him about that. And he said, it's about being grateful, Chazz. Just be grateful that of all the wonderful things you have. And I went, yeah. He said, it's not about each gig or each movie or all these big movies or Academy Awards or all that. It's about the process is the reward. Enjoy it. And once he told me that, I fucking just let up on myself a little bit. I said, fuck it. I'll make I don't know. I've done 70 movies. I said, I'm writing, directing, and I go, at the end of your life, he said to me, you'll have 10 maybe, God willing, that are brilliant. Maybe 20 are good, real good. Maybe 20 not so good. Maybe 10 are bad, and maybe 10 will suck. And he goes, but that's all it is. So
Right.
don't get fucking caught up. And it took I
Yeah.
don't read reviews ever. I really don't. And I know people say that, but I truly don't.
I read until the first bad one, and then I do the average. I was like, all right, it was 10 good ones, 1 bad one.
Yeah. But you know what Chris Rock told me about stand-up comics, and I admire you guys so much. I mean, I do a one-person show, but I'm not a stand-up comic. I'm an actor. But he said to me, I said to him once, I said, Chris, did you ever bomb? He goes, everybody bombs.
Yeah.
I go, even now? He goes, yeah. I go, wow. How does that make you feel? He goes, you just do it again. He says, I remember him saying that everybody bombs.
Yeah, I had I'd taken like 6 weeks off before I get ready to do this next run, and one of the worst things you can do is then just go out on the road. I knew my act or whatever, and then these people that paid to go see you, see 3 shows of you trying to get the momentum going again. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So I did 3 shows out in L.A., and I had the first one went okay. The second one was tough. It was just tough. It was like they were all good shows, but it wasn't clicking. And then by the third night, it really had like, and of course, like the second night, all of these people came down to see me, and they were like, no, it's good. I enjoy seeing the process. When they say that, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
geez, did you just say
that was interesting.
Did you just say the process?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where if you didn't know anything about comedy, you would think that I was having a good set.
Right.
But it was like,
right.
It was just one of those things where I wasn't, it wasn't like, when I had a set the other night, I was in Lincoln, California, and I went up there, and like for 45 minutes, I was like, I'm not even doing my act. Like, I'm just up here talking. I was just like screwing around, and I was like, taking pieces of one bit and putting it into another, and then thinking like, well, that was just one joke, and I just blew up 2 ideas. Who gives a shit? And I was just like, but it was a good thing. I was just flowing.
Right.
And that wouldn't have happened if it's just like going to the gym. If you take 6 weeks off,
right,
you go to get on the elliptical, 5 minutes in, you used to be able to do a half hour. You're like, fuck, I'm laboring through this. So it isn't,
Yeah.
It isn't something that you can be away from for too long.
That's why
For too
comics
long.
say that.
Yeah.
They say, I've been away from it so long that it scares me now. Like they got to get their legs back,
Yeah.
as they say. What I love what you do. I've seen all your specials, and sometimes you just put your thing on the microphone. You just,
Yeah.
and I go, what the fuck? He's just like, and that's the beauty of it. You're just sitting there, standing there, like.
But I learned that I wanted to be able to be that comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I was like you. I watched a bunch of comedy, and I would see people that were just so friggin' relaxed and could just take the crowd wherever they wanted to go. And I was just like, you'd ask questions. How do you do that? How do you learn? And it's like, comedy's such a weird thing. It's like,
Yes.
the only way to learn it is to do it. It's like the old school way where they taught you how to swim. They just threw you in the deep end. That's the only. It's
That's
not
the
like
only way. You're
yeah.
right.
It's not like you can, you can stand in front of the mirror. You can practice
Yeah.
and do that. It's just not like it's because the crowd is part of the performance. Like you don't even notice. It becomes subconscious after a while. Speeding up, slowing down. Giving them a break. If it was like, something really up here and it's loud and blah, 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 you need to like reset because if you stay up there, you can't sustain that altitude.
Right.
Or it just becomes like this just white noise after a while. So it's kind of like, it's no different than, when you're making a movie.
Right.
And like, I did one last year and we had this really like big...
I got to tell you, you're a really good actor.
Oh, thank you.
You really are.
Fooled him again.
No, you're a good actor, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're a good fucking actor.
Well, you know what? I respect it.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I know. I
wouldn't say nothing.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say nothing if I thought you weren't. I would say
Why would
nothing.
you think I don't know that about you?
But I am like that. Yes, I am.
No, that's why I love you because
Yeah.
like compliments from a person like you means something. Because I know you're not going to be like, oh, hey, it was great when it wasn't. So
No. He's
I-
a good fucking actor, man.
I fucking hated acting in the beginning because I sucked at it. The same way I sucked at comedy, and it was like really like, fuck, I got to do this again. I got to suck and bomb and everything. And then what changed was I was like, well, how did I get good at comedy? And what I did with comedy was like, if there was something I sucked at, rather than I initially went away from it, I started going towards it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I
Yeah.
started treating auditions like that, being like, it wasn't even about booking it. It was like, I'm doing this. I want to do this choice, and it scares me to do it, and I'm afraid that I'm going to feel stupid. So the whole goal of this audition is just to commit to this, even if
Wow.
I
Yeah,
fall on my face.
That's fucking great.
So, and because what it is it's almost like you're in one of those, I don't know, like something just like not like. I can't think. I'm going back to my childhood where they would play that game. They put the parachute up and then they would bring it down on you. It's like you're pushing it out so I can have room.
Right.
Because you kind of get like, I think a lot of artists, you get beaten down as a
Yes.
person,
Yes.
like a lot of people do. So you're in like this defensive thing.
Yeah.
And this performing stuff requires this.
Right.
So you're trying to like mentally get yourself out of it.
Acting and auditioning are two separate techniques. I teach a master class in auditioning. I've been doing it for 10 years. They sell out. It's like crazy. I do it like twice a year. It's two different techniques, but you have to have some of that mindset where it's three things in audition, and I'll just say quickly. It's three things.
No, I want to hear this.
It's three things when you go into an audition. And you don't worry about what's my character, how am I it's all bullshit. And I'm a member of the Actors Studio for 10 years. And I was taught by Lee Strasberg himself. And I'm telling you now, in auditions, it's three things. Relaxation is the most important. The more relaxed you are, the better you'll be. Second thing is, a little trick is know your fucking lines pretty well. You don't have to memorize it, but know them and feel comfortable with the script, looking at them, right? And the third thing is, listen to the other actor. That's it. In an audition, that's it. You walk in there relaxed, you know the thing, and you're listening to the other actor, that's it. Everything else, when you get the part, then you talk about whatever you got to do.
Oh, okay.
It's all relaxed, and you don't give a fuck about them.
I wasn't relaxed for probably the first 15 years
of
auditioning. I hated auditions, and I used to consider them, they were intrusive. That's the hardest thing as a comedian because you're already making money doing other things.
Yes.
And it's just like, fuck, I got to go to this. I got to go, like, especially out in LA. I got to go to the other side of the 405 because every audition seemed to be like at 3:30,
Always.
4 o'clock
The worst
in
time.
Santa Monica. And you were coming over from Hollywood and it's just the worst traffic. And you'd go over there and you'd read it once and they'd be like, okay, thanks a lot. And you're just like, fuck.
Right.
Get your car.
Yeah.
Drive
But
it
that's
back.
what it's about. It's about that fucking bang. You just walk in there.
It was so incremental. And then my next level from Oh Thanks a Lot was the first time they went, okay, now can you try it this way? And I
Right.
was like, oh shit, they liked what I did.
Right.
And then they'd be like, okay, thanks.
Well, they want to see if you can follow direction. Sometimes you say, could you try it this way? The person does the same exact thing. Or they get worse. So then I do that when I audition actors. I say, you know what, try it like this. Or sometimes I'll even go, you know what, you seem a little uptight, a little nervous. Relax, what are you worried about? Go outside, rest 5 minutes, come back, do it again. It's always better.
Right.
It's always better.
I remember one time I had somebody goes, okay, now try it this way. And it was like the producers and the director were there.
Yeah.
I did it. And then the guy goes, wow. He goes, way to hit the curveball. I'm thinking like, I got it. And they're just like, all right, thanks a lot.
No, it doesn't mean any. They could look at you and go, holy shit. It happened to me when I first started. This fucking, who's your agent's name? What's your agent? Do you believe this fucking guy? Right?
Yeah.
Not a callback.
Right.
Not even a callback.
But they keep you in mind.
They could really feel that way at that moment. Some of it is true, and some of it is like maybe they're just breaking balls and they're not true. But I believe they really felt that way. But as soon as a guy comes in that's better than you, they forgot all about you.
Well, that's why I think acting is way harder because I don't have to keep proving that I'm funny. Once I go to a comedy club, and I do a week and I'm not an asshole. I don't show up hammered or whatever, and I do the job and I kill. They're like, this guy's funny. I don't have to re-audition again the next year to get into it.
True.
I've proven that I'm funny.
Well,
Where I feel like you guys constantly, and then when you get to a point where they're actually sending you scripts and everything with the ups and downs of the business, you then have to go back to like audition, or they just don't think you're right. Like I always thought it was amazing when Jim Carrey was doing Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
They didn't want him to play the role. And he was making like friggin' $20 million a movie.
Right.
And he said, fuck that. And he put himself on tape.
Yes.
And I'm just like, there was two things about that. It was like, one, I learned like, wow, it never ends.
Never
ends. Yeah. You got to keep proving yourself.
Right.
And then two, like, don't ever feel that you're like, you can be like, oh, I don't do that anymore. Like I'm
Right.
past that. That's when we've begun your initial
That's when you
descent
start-
into nobody
you're-
giving a shit about you.
Right.
And you go right
It's
back.
funny you said that. I was with a gentleman who I will not name, huge fucking star. I mean, mega star. And I was at his house having lunch, and I hear him, fuck him, bullshit. And he's fucking ranting into this fuck. Bam! Hits the fucking phone. So I go, what happened? I said, you all right? Everything all right? Fuck this shit. I was offered that fucking role, and then they gave it to this other big star.
Right.
The fuck is that? They said I would be. And I looked at him and I went, it never ends.
Yeah, no. It
I
doesn't.
go, does it ever end?
Yeah, no.
I said, do you know who the fuck you are? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I go, I'm looking to be where you are one day, maybe. Does it ever end? He goes, no.
Yeah. So then you don't take it personal. It's just,
No, I
you know what
don't.
they just become funny stories to tell other performers.
Right.
But what you don't realize is that those people on the other side of the desk, they're dealing with the same shit. And like their thing is if we're in something, a project, and it bombs, we're like, ugh, and we
Right.
move on to the next one. They get fired.
They get
Somebody
fired.
gets fired and they don't
So
have
right.
health insurance, and then
Nothing.
they have, because someone's going to get blamed.
They get blamed. That's why every
Yeah.
movie starts off with Tom Cruise and fucking, it used to start off with Tom Cruise and Julia Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get them and I'm a producer and it bombs, they go, well, no, fucking Tom, Julia, it's not my fault.
Right.
But that's why they're afraid to take a chance with an unknown or somebody who's a little risky, because they know they just want to, they don't even want to go up. They just want to stay where they are.
Yeah.
It's like they got those suction cups and they're on the glass, you know? They got the suction cups, Bill, and they said, don't let me go down.
Yeah.
I just want to stay up here so I can have lunch at the Palm and fucking have meetings that don't mean nothing. That's all they want.
I know. But you have to respect the position they're in, because if you show up like an asshole and you're not ready to work, it's not just you're screwing over. You're screwing over all these other people. And if you fuck them, they never forget it.
They never.
Yeah, if you treated them like shit, if you weren't prepared, if you know
Yeah.
you didn't go all out to promote the project.
And I've seen things where huge stars put a lot of money in the seats, but as soon as they start putting those asses in the seats, they go back at them, boy. Wow.
Oh yeah, no, they see.
Whoa. And I
that's
won't mention names, a female, huge star. And as soon as that shit went down, oh, merciless. Fuck her.
Yeah, they all.
She's dead in the water.
Yeah.
You know, she's
They
dead
were
in the
waiting
water.
for it. They were waiting for it. They would if you're a big enough asshole, they would literally root against the project that they're working on.
Right. That's true. That's true. Bill, you were born in Boston.
Chelsea,
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
so you're obviously a diehard Red Sox fan.
Yep.
Obviously. So it's okay. You know, so
It is okay. It's been a great ride.
you guys have been fucking
I feel bad for Yankee. You're a Yankee fan?
like diehard.
Yeah, I feel
diehard.
bad for you guys.
Yeah.
'Cause all you guys don't know. You guys don't know like suffering. You're like rich kids. Like, how do you even enjoy? It's just you're like, oh, I totaled my car. Oh, here's
No.
another one.
And we
This
have,
is another,
we
you know?
haven't won in a long time. We haven't won since 2010.
I was 2009.
2009, I'm sorry.
I will say this. You know, as much as we have like the rivalry and everything. I mean, it's you guys are the greatest franchise. Yeah, because the way you've been able to sustain it. Although, in my lifetime, what franchise has won the most championships? I was born in '68. In all four major sports, who's the most successful? Kills me
Well,
to
it's got to
say
be the
this.
Patriots.
Nope.
New England?
Oh, no, not
okay.
even close.
They won the most championships. Is
Basketball.
it can't be Boston. Still Boston?
No. Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers, since I've been born, have won more championships than the Montreal
Wow.
Canadiens,
Do you know
the
I
New
didn't know
York
that?
Yankees, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Lakers?
Yeah. Think about it. They won 5 with Magic. They won 5 with Kobe. They won 1 with LeBron. That's 11 right there. And then they won 1 in the 70s with Wilt or some shit.
With Wilt.
That's 12.
Holy shit.
So
You
the
know,
Canadians,
that's a good
the
question.
Canadians won 7 in the 70s.
Yeah.
No, wait. What did how many did they win? They won 4,
I got to tell
5,
you.
6, 7,
Right.
8, 9. They've won 9 in my lifetime. 93, 86,
Right.
76 to 79, 71, 73, and then I want to say that they won in 68 and 69.
Wow. You know what? That is a
So,
good question.
so a lot of people like don't. And the devastating thing, as a Celtics fan, watching them, you know, it's like they did well during the era when it was the Jerry West, Red Auerbach build a team,
Yeah.
shrewd trades and all of that.
Right.
Like you know, the Golden State Warriors not knowing what they had in Robert Parrish.
Right.
The Pistons not knowing what they had in ML Carr, doing those things.
Right.
Trading up to get Larry Bird, and just that's what you did. Amazing moves like that.
Right.
And you know, occasionally there'd be a big free agent signing, like when Kareem went from the Bucks to the
Right.
Lakers. But then when the free agency era
Yes,
came,
that changed it. Yeah.
yeah, that's what killed the Celtics, because, well, you know, aside from Len Bias dying and stuff like that killed
Yeah.
us too. But like they were able to transition from the old way to the new way. And I always joke, I go, the problem is we can't compete with the market. It's like, all right, what do you want to do? You want to go to racist Boston, deal with the winner, and
Yeah.
bang sixes?
Fucking Boston.
Or
yeah.
do you want to go to racist LA? I always make sure I say that, because they always act like racism in this country is just in the South and in Boston. It's
Right.
like, no, it's everywhere. It's like every time the Lakers win a championship, within 3 minutes there's a police car tipped over and on fire. It's like, what is that an expression of?
I don't know.
How happy their day-to-day lives are? Yeah, but or you can go out there and like you know, some of these athletes too now have like production companies, or they want to have a rap career and everything, and they're like in Hollywood. So yeah, it kind of
Wow.
yeah, it's awful to watch. And then on top of that, they had a mobbed up ref that fixed that friggin' Sacramento series. It's like,
that was-
how much more help did
That was hurtful.
Dude, NBA's filthy. I think the NBA and
When
in
I
the,
saw
in the
that-
2000s, I was going to games going, this shit is fixed. And people were going like, oh, he's got his tinfoil hat on.
I got to be honest with you. I was one of those tinfoil guys. I didn't believe that. And
No,
then,
tinfoil guys is
you know,
is the conspiracy.
Yeah, but no,
theorist guy.
when I saw that the guy was fixing games, I was like, motherfucker.
Dude, I don't think it was just him. I think there was two levels of it. I think that Stern at the top was fixing shit, massaging shit. Because you got to understand, it's a business, and they're not even, they're called entertainment leagues. So what happened accidentally in the 80s, they've on purpose recreated since. So it was in the 80s, you accidentally, the Lakers and the Celtics, through
Right.
shrewd trades and drafts, created two super teams.
True.
It was unbelievable. It was like the
Right.
Cowboys versus the Steelers in the 70s.
Right.
And it happened in the 80s in basketball, and basketball in the late 70s with cocaine and all this stuff, and then racist white people. The league went from like being like 90% white to 90% black. Like their ratings would dip and they were fucked. And then all of a sudden Bird and Magic came in, saved it, and then they went past NFL football in popularity. And then Jordan came along.
Right.
So then they were able to ride that. And then when Jordan retired, I feel like they were like, what are we going to do now? This is all going to dip. Where are our stars? What are we going to do? They had these individual stars, but they didn't have these like, Beatlemania teams.
Right, yes.
And that's when the era of the super team, Kobe, Shaq, Phil Jackson, that kicked that off to then the Celtics having to get their big three, to then the Heat having to do it. And then
Right.
the Warriors, not their first one, but the one when KD went there.
Right.
So I feel like, it's hard to watch, and not as an old sports fan, it's hard for me to sit there when they go like, well, this guy from this era has like 5 rings, and Jordan has like, it's like, dude, Jordan didn't jump around the fucking league. When Jordan couldn't get past the Pistons, he didn't join the Pistons.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like that's what I'm not going to name names, but that
Yeah, no,
there was a
you're right.
series I saw where this up and coming team was up 3-1, but they didn't know how to win. And they ended up losing the series.
Yes.
So then it's like, that was wow, that's got to be devastating. In the offseason, they lift weights, they dig down deep.
Right.
No. One of the main stars joined that other fucking team.
Yes.
And it was so stupid. The beginning of the season, everybody's like, well, they're going to win it. And then they did.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know who you're talking about.
And
too.
then,
Yeah.
and then fucking ESPN just sits there going like, one of the greatest, most dominant fucking teams. That's like,
well, why don't you say something? Yeah, I know who it was. It was fucking, Grant. It was
KD.
KD.
Yeah, and I love that guy.
Yeah, it was KD. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I was like, he's going there?
yeah.
Why the fuck's he going there?
And why do they allow it? Because it was the most boring. It was you know what it was like? It was like a shitty
Yeah.
summertime
Why did they allow? I was like,
blockbuster movie where you know the ending already.
yeah, I was like, wow, did they allow that to happen?
yeah.
I was pissed off about that. I always talk about, and again, I'm obviously I'm a Knick fan, which forget that shit. I'm dying like a dog. Which we showed some, we showed some, but I knew we weren't getting too far.
Dying like a dog here.
I knew we weren't getting. I said, look,
No, you guys had a good season though, and
we had a good season.
You had a nice run.
But we had no shot of getting. But you know what? I was happy we had a good season. But I always tell people, I said, I'm a huge fucking, if this makes sense to you, Larry Bird fan. I am. I really am.
Right.
He's in my, if you said top 5, you pick your team, Bird is one of the forwards. No question.
Right.
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I got obviously Magic at the 1, Jordan at the 2. Then I got Bird at the 3, and I got Karl Malone. And I like, because I'm older, I like Will Chamberlain as the fuck. To me, Will Chamberlain was like, you're not coming in this motherfucker.
Oh, they had to change the rules. You
You had
couldn't
to change
dunk
the rules.
for a while.
Like, I got enough scoring with all these other guys, but people always say to me, and they can't believe when I say this, 7-game, 2 seconds left, he got 1 shot. Who do you want to do it? And people go, Michael Jordan. I said, no, Larry Bird. To me, Larry Bird. And
I'll say this,
What?
so we don't come off as 2 old guys here.
Yeah.
The greatest shooter of all time is Steph Curry.
I would say probably the greatest long-range shooter of all time is Steph
Well, I mean,
Curry.
what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the further away you are, I mean, that guy is like,
Yes.
he takes shots like 10 feet behind
the yeah.
arc. Back in the day, if you did that, you'd get benched because
Benched.
first of all, it would be an air ball or you would have missed.
Yes.
Like And the way that he is, like, I feel like, because when people talk about like who's the best guy right now, what I really think is the person that changes the game.
I
and
agree.
and I feel like kids are imitating him, because I'm seeing these hilarious videos on like Instagram and stuff, and there's these kids in like junior high, and they're just getting over the half court line and they're throwing it up,
Yeah.
and they're thinking like, why? Like back in the day, you would never do that. And
Yeah.
the truly great ones, the not just great, but change the game, like Steph
You know
Curry.
what?
Because
That's a
Steph
good-
Curry,
yeah.
they show you what is possible. But then what happens is, through the passage of time, their greatness gets absorbed into the game, and then young people go back and they go, dude, I can fucking do that. Or people do that stuff all the time. It's like, yeah, but nobody did it until that person was the first person
Right.
to
right.
do it.
Yeah. But a lot of guys can't shoot from 10 feet over the 3-point line, and I think
I think this is the best era of shooting. I mean, you got 7-footers draining threes.
Yeah, but it's so much different. Like in Jordan's time, Bill, man, you could hand check the motherfucker. You can't do that now.
Punch
Can't-
him in the balls. That was
You
another
don't.
thing
You
that they
didn't
did.
drive into the fucking lane.
Well, that was one of the things that
The Jordan rules.
where they had they have that little safe space thing there,
Yeah.
where like I don't understand why the defensive player literally has to leave what he's defending, which is the main thing you're defending is the goal.
Right.
So that's a little bizarre, but I think it the guys just got too big, so they had to adjust it. So it's
Yeah.
a total perimeter game. It's completely changed. Where back
Perimeter.
in the day, it was like if you didn't have a good 7-footer,
Yeah.
you were finished.
Yeah.
Jordan comes along and was like, I don't need one, and I will dunk on your number 5 and 4 player at the
Right.
same time.
He won the world championship with Bill Cartwright. Nothing against Bill Cartwright.
and Luke Longley, yeah.
And Luke Longley, which they were decent play, decent.
Right.
But he was like, no, we changed the fucking game. I agree with that, man.
Yeah. So that's like whenever people talk about the greatest of all time, I always look at it like you have to have changed the game. You can't just have dominated the game. There's always somebody out there that is dominating the game, but who's out there doing something like whoever fucking thought that like those shots that Steph Curry hits, like that those would be in his like he puts up like shots that are like,
Right.
3, 2, 1, and you don't have time.
Yeah,
and
and
that's
and I
like in
go,
his range.
what
I
the
saw him. He did this thing one time. He was warming up, right? He goes like one hand layup, goes to the foul line, hits that top of the key, hits that. Goes out to the 3-point line, hits that. Went to the half court, hit that. Came back to the 3-point, hit that. Goes back to the foul shot. I forget what he did, and he just did like this. Remember the Iceman?
Yeah.
Curving with the finger roll.
The finger
Dude,
roll.
he did it like almost up to the rafters, and it came down, and it didn't even touch the rim. It was
Yeah.
like I didn't even see the fucking Globetrotters doing stuff like that when I was a kid.
And if you look at him, you say to yourself, who are the people? I always think of all the people they took ahead of Curry in the draft, and I go, did anybody see this? Did anybody? Some people they become pros, and their game just flourishes, man.
Well, it's because he kept working. Like some people get to the pros and like I arrived. I see that with comedy. You get to a certain point. It's not so much now because there's just this pressure to keep putting out specials to keep people seeing you. But like back in the day, you would see these guys. They would hit. They would get something. They'd have a show. They'd have a catchphrase.
Right.
And then you just watch them, and that was it. They just would do it. And there's that sort of eye of the storm, where it's just like, yeah, everything's calm and everything's great. And then they just would start sliding down the back because they stopped writing. They stopped growing, and their act got stale. And I'll tell you, as a young comic, it was a terrifying thing to watch. Because it was the first time you learned the lesson of like, oh, when you make it, that's not like end of story.
No,
it's like now you got to try to stay there.
You got to stay there. Staying there is harder to make. Staying there is harder than making it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, staying there is harder than making.
Yeah, because you're so fucking tired by the time you get up there.
Well, because when you finally get there, now poverty is not forcing you to fucking bust your ass and write and work.
Right.
Poverty is gone. Poverty is a big motivator. I want this. That's why capitalism sometimes to me works, because you want something. Once you make it and you have the fucking riches, the house, everything, but I still got to get up and write. I got to write. I'm a writer too.
Yeah.
I got to wake up and go, why don't you just fucking relax today? Take the wife out, go somewhere, have lunch. I go, no, I got to work. Your discipline, it's your fucking discipline matters. It's funny. I had Colin Quinn on. You know,
It's unreal.
And I love Colin. You know,
And there's a guy when you talk about continues growing and he like his last 3 specials are the best work he's done. He just keeps getting better.
he says, I'm a writer. He goes, I'm a comic, but I'm a writer first. I go, oh, wow. And he goes, and I asked him once, I said, Colin, when you write, if the audience doesn't laugh, is it still funny? He goes, yeah. I don't give a fuck. I think it's still funny. I mean, I was like, if I think it's funny, I'm going to tell them what's funny. And he was making me laugh, but he saw,
Yeah, well, he's one of those guys that has the balls to not go down to their level.
yes.
So it's like, I'm up here, come on up, because this is where I'm going to be. And then we're all guilty of it. He's the only guy I've ever seen that doesn't give a shit. Like if I'm up, feeling my shit jokes are up here and the crowd's here, I'll fucking go down in the muck with you. I don't care. I was just like, all right, you don't want that? Okay, you want this? Whatever. Like, I am definitely guilty of, not so much now, because once you have a crowd, they know what you do. But back in the day when I was, coming up, and I felt that they wanted it dirty or whatever. I mean, I got to survive. So I was like, all right, I'll go over to this place. I don't want to be talking about this stuff. And oh God, Jesus. I can't even look at you. Some of the bits that I had, like, literally, I had these bits that I would not do in New York. I would not, because guys like Colin Quinn would see me, and I would never hear the end of it. But you just have like but it was funny was we all knew we had them. They had these on the road bits.
So in other words, to go there,
it's just a late crowd, and it's just the dumbest fucking people. They're just drunk, and it was just like there was a level of dumb out there that doesn't exist anymore. Because of the internet, where you can literally become you can become worldly because just sitting at the internet, you had to travel. But back in the day, if you never left your fucking town, you could meet like some of the dumbest, like you can. It's like, how do you even dress yourself? Level dumb, and these fucking jerk-offs would show up on like the 3rd show, and their whole idea of a show was they yelled at you and you told them to go fuck themselves. No matter how many times you told them to go fuck themselves, they thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then in the end, they'd be like, hey, I was really helping you out. So with people like that, you had like this mouth-breathing material that, you tapped into everybody's got a mouth breather in them. So you just tapped into I'm trying to think of airplane jokes.
Right.
I had a whole bit on the spelling of the word diarrhea. And I can't even remember how it went, but I remember this comedian, Tom Carter. I did it at the Cellar one night. And he goes, not only did you do a bit about diarrhea, he goes, you then acted it out. You spelt the word. And I just started laughing. I was like, well, yeah, man, if you're going to do it, you got to commit to it. But I never forgot he said that. And I was just like, all right, I got to put that one. Because it was killing. It was killing in New York, too. But that was the one that I
on the road.
Oh, yeah. That was
on the road.
Yeah, that was the.
Wow.
Yeah, the bad ones.
I got to tell you, we're going to do 2 parts to this. So, Bill, I appreciate the first part because I'm sorry. I got to have you for 2 parts of this thing. So, please stay on a little longer. And we're going to do part 2 next week.